Once upon a time, in a dark and twisted land, there lived a woman named Ilara. She was known throughout her village for her strange and eccentric ways. Widowed and burdened with three hungry children, Ilara found herself trapped in a cycle of poverty and desperation. The village was plagued by famine, and the meager rations she could provide was never enough. One fateful night, while wandering through the woods in search of food, Elara stumbled upon an ancient crumbling shrine. It was said to be dedicated to a long forgotten spirit, one that could grant wishes for a price. Driven by her hunger and desperation, Ilara knelt before the shrine and pleaded for help. Grant me a way to feed my children, she cried. The spirit appeared, cloaked in shadows, and offered her a deal. I can give you the means to feed your children, but you must first transform them into something else. Desperate and without thinking, Elara agreed, and with a flick of the spirit's wrist, her children were transformed into sleek, agile rats. At first, she was horrified, but soon she realized the potential. With her children now able to scurry unnoticed, they could venture into the dark corners of the village, where the hungry and unsuspecting inhabitants lived. They could steal scraps of food, and Ilara could use their newfound forms to keep them fed. However, as the days turned into weeks, Ilara's hunger for more grew. The spirit had whispered tales of a darker power, the ability to feast on human flesh to sustain herself and her transformed children. Driven by a relentless desire to provide for her family, she succumbed to the dark temptation. Ilara began luring unsuspecting villagers into the woods under the guise of helping them. Once there, her children would emerge from the shadows, and together they would strike. The once innocent children, now transformed into cunning creatures, had become the perfect hunters. With each successful hunt, Ilara felt a rush of power and satisfaction. She fed her children the flesh of the villagers, and in turn, they thrived. Their sleek forms grew stronger and they became the stuff of nightmares, roaming the night in search of their next meal. But with each passing day, the spirit's hold over Ilara grew stronger. She became a hollow shell of her former self, consumed by the darkness she had embraced. The love she once had for her children twisted into a monstrous obsession to keep them fed at any cost. Eventually, the village began to notice the strange disappearances. Fear gripped the hearts of the villagers, and they banded together to hunt the source of the terror. Little did they know that the very woman they had once known as a loving mother was the cause of their plight. As the villagers closed in, Ilara realized the full weight of her choice. The spirit, having fed her on her darkness, revealed its true nature. It had no intention of allowing her or her children to escape the consequences of their actions. In a final act of desperation, Ilara turned to her transformed children, urging them to flee. But the spirit laughed, knowing that they were bound to their fate. In a flash of darkness, Ilara and her children vanished into the shadows, forever trapped in their cursed forms, feeding on the fear and the flesh of those they once called neighbors. The village, now forever haunted by the tale of the mother who turned her children into rats, would never forget the horror that lurked in the woods, a reminder of the darkness that can consume even the most loving hearts.